The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everybody, Simon has just organised me, so it is so lovely to welcome you all to our 2015 first webinar for the year. Okay, Si, you say hello, I'll back.
I just want to do just a very quick housekeeping. Can people hear us? If I could have a couple of people say yes if they can hear us. Also, can you see the first slide? The first slide says welcome to 2015. And finally, if I could have someone say yes if they can see the webcam. So we've got yes to video. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And if someone can say yes to webcam. Yeah, we've got webcam. Okay, we are all up and running. So fantastic. So we are all ready to go. You don't need to type in yes anymore. We've got it all. And we are going to start with the webinar. So here we go.
So great to see you all. I wish I could actually see you all. I'm going to tell you a little giggle here because the humidity is amazingly horrible in Sydney at present. For those of you who have kept up with us, we've had that cyclone Marsha up north, which has brought down, we've got dreadful damage up north, no electricity, no petrol, it's just dreadful. And we are now getting the rains down here, not of course to the same degree. And it is like 26 to 28 today, and I think our humidity must be 90% because it's raining. And it is so humid, it is unbelievable. I hate humidity. So I took my little honey for a walk this morning, and when I came back, Simon said to me, and I had my hair done, had my makeup done, I thought I looked okay, but I was in shorts. Who was going to see me? He said, hadn't you better get dressed for the webinar, Mum? So I have some fun clothes to show you later on in the webinar. But before I start, I'll take my reading glasses off. And these are my latest sunnies. I want to know what you think of them. Aren't they cool? I bought a really inexpensive pair and just loved them. Everything back here in my favourite stores are retro. And Simon's first pair of retro glasses, he was way ahead of the fashion. And he just got them in for me. Aren't they cool? I love them. Okay, that's enough of glasses. Let's put these on. You can see I do like red. So I have to click on this. Click. Okay, this is the beginning of anything you want. The only thing you have to do is believe it. This is the beginning of anything you want. We do have a webinar special, so use the coupon, and the code word is FEB15 to receive a 15% discount off everything. And it expires on the 2nd of March. And guess what? That's Simon's birthday. So you can all wish him happy birthday for the 2nd of March, which I think is next Monday. So it's a week from today, and that means he's got less than 6 months to go with his chemo. And I will be so thrilled when that is over and done with. Well, here we all are at our first webinar for 2015. After the great success we had with our monthly webinars in 2014, we are continuing them for 2015. And I don't know if anyone has prepared a webinar ever, but it takes hours of work to get slides ready and everything organized, and this is something Simon does with great diligence, along with nagging me to death. This is such a great way that we can keep up with each other while Simon is still undergoing treatment and not travelling. However, Simon is in a very creative mood and working his little socks off at present, and you will see. You would have read in our first newsletter we all had an amazing summer holiday, which is most of January, which is the Southern Hemisphere summer, with sun, surf and relaxation, the order of the day. Those of you who keep up with my Facebook page will have seen the lovely pictures I posted of my beautiful Tawoon Bay holiday resort, and I spent about 3 weeks up there. Australia virtually closes down from Christmas Eve until at least the middle of January, and then the end of January we have Australia Days. And the kids are all on holidays, so it's a real festive summer holiday period. Simon had a beautiful day up at Merriweather Beach, which is in Newcastle, with his gorgeous children. And we had all been swimming. It was very, very big surf, so we were in saltwater pools, which of course the Seafield, but the beach was closed. And you can see here, literally, Frankie will be 4 on the 1st of April, and Harvey turned 6 last year, and he's going into his 2nd year of school. Simon put Frankie up on his shoulders and said, "Hang on," and hang on she did. We just wanted to show you how we have all got back in the 80s. As many people knew me as a blonde. Well, I was born a brunette, and this is our family. Harvey is so like his dad. I think Simon was around 3½, and Sam, for those of you who remember Sam, was about 18 months. And you can all see where I get my olive skin from, my beautiful dad. So the picture's coming up now. So on the left is my eldest son, Jason. There's 5½ years between Simon and Jason, and 7½ between Sam and Jason. And you can see my dad there, my gorgeous dad, who I miss every day, with his olive skin, and Mum is nursing Sam. And any lovely skin that I get is a combination. I always say I got dad's skin and Mum's legs. So I will pass on, and yes, I had the big do. Yes, you can laugh at me. We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. Isn't that the truth? We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is exactly the same. So let's make ourselves strong. Don't forget our 15% off everything coupon, which ends on the 2nd of March, Simon's birthday. Now let's look at our bring and brag, and I have to thank everyone who sent pictures in of what they've been doing. We would like a lot more pictures, so don't be afraid to send me pictures. It's so inspirational to see what other people are doing. So our first one, and if they are a little blurred, it's because we enlarged them. And this is from Laura Barnes. Thank you, Laura. I love your colours, and your placement is perfect. And this is from Beyond Colour Purple. And her beautiful velvets and her metallic gold embroidery is just gorgeous. If you have never made a quilt before, this is the one you should make. This is another one from Laura, and again, I love your colours, Laura. I think Laura said she was going to make these into pillows. You do not have to make them into quilts. You can make them into smaller pillows. You can use them on garments. You can use them on anything. And they are such beautiful designs. Now, this is from Carol, and she has used the designs, which are all applique designs, from Harvey's Garden. And these are designs that I used to draw for Simon when he was a little boy. All my children got to sit in church and colour in, or while I was drawing these. And I actually wrote a story about Sammy Snail. So these are all applique and beautiful. Now, this is another one. Now, I think Carol's making these into pillows, or she may be making them into Harvey's Garden cloth book. It is a labour of love, but it's a beautiful book when you finish it. I thought this was very clever that Carol made these into little toys. They could also be made into a mobile. So I haven't seen this done before, Carol, so congratulations on such a fun idea to make the little toys which can be adapted to anything. Very, very creative. Now this is from Michelle, and Michelle has used the beautiful applique designs and embroidery designs from Fragrant and Delicate Delights. I think they're one of our favourite designs and other designs that she's used, and I love her lace edging. Now the design, I think, Michelle, this originally was a Margaret Moorhead class or design. I'm not sure, but it looks familiar to me, and I think we had it in one of the creative expressions. And it uses our technique of having a center circle which has been quilted with couch threads, and the beautiful designs from Moulin Rouge. And we are going to see some Moulin Rouge quilts as we go along. Now, Simon, this is Barbara Johnson's. Would you like to talk about that? Coming up.
So this is from Simon's Applique Magic. This was a collection that I brought out a couple of years ago, and this is all applique and quilting done in the hoop. It's a double-sided or reversible technique, and you can see here she stitched out, I think, pretty much all of the blocks. What I think is absolutely fabulous that she's done is Barbara has created the triangular and half circle designs that have created her border. So she's actually created an original design to create an original border, and I think it's just amazing. I think it's so exciting to see people take an idea and just run with it and create something amazing and beautiful. So I think Barbara has done such a fabulous job, and I love that she's used her initiative and her creativity to create additional designs for the quilt. So well done, Barbara.
What you are not seeing on screen is that these all extended out into half circles here, which is very, very clever. Of course, everything's been put together with the Jenny join. You have the built-in stitch cutting line. You can have the quilt reversible or plain on the underside. And it has been brought to our attention that there are still a lot of people who don't understand the Jenny join. The Jenny join is explained in detail and visually seen from our website. If you go and have a look at Quiltomatic, we have a video up there for Quiltomatic. We have 3 videos for A Place in the Sun, which uses the Jenny join, and we also have it in I Need a Little Christmas. So if you want to see the Jenny join in detail, view any one of those videos on our website.
Just to jump in for a second, we had a lot of feedback yesterday on what people would like us to do a webinar on, and I was a little bit surprised because we run over the Jenny join nearly in every single webinar, but a lot of people would like a webinar completely devoted to the Jenny join. So that will be our next webinar, will be a webinar full of information, tips ideas and tricks on how to use the Jenny join, what is the Jenny join, and why you would want to use the Jenny join. So that will be the webinar that we're doing next, because it's something that people always ask questions about, so that's what we'll do it on. But as Jenny suggested, if you are not familiar with the Jenny join, I would recommend watching one of the videos, and there are many, many, many that talk about the Jenny join. Watch that, you'll have a basic understanding, and then when you come to the webinar, we'll run through it, and I guarantee you'll understand how to do it by the end of the webinar.
Okay, and this beautiful slide that you can see in front of you is by Lorraine. Now, Lorraine, I'm sorry, I saved your picture as Lorraine and forgot to put your surname in there. So if it's yours, please lay claim to it. It's beautiful, and it's Jenny's heritage. And if you have never done anything before, this would be wonderful to start with, because it includes all the techniques that I have collected over my myriad of years in the sewing industry dating back to 1991. And it's all done with embroidered decoupage. So that means all the embroidery that is on all the blocks is actually done and is freestanding, and then you can apply it wherever you wish to apply it. I have seen hundreds of these made. It has actually sold out several times, and now it is an e-book with all the designs to do Jenny's heritage. So that if you are new and you haven't seen the book, then you can do that, and remember, you get your 15% off. I love the colors in this quilt, and this is by Lorraine also. Gorgeous colors. And this is Sandy's Oriental Express. We also have a video for this on the website. So this actually is, again, all done with embroidered decoupage. Sandy is my girlfriend who'd never made a quilt or sewn before, and she came one night a week to make a quilt. And this is Lorraine's version of it. I love your colors, of course, Lorraine. All the center, where's my arrow, each heart is fussy cut. And it teaches you how to fussy cut and then insert it in embroidery, and then the hearts on the blocks are all done with embroidery. And it is really easy to do the placement with marking your blocks, and I just absolutely love the colors that are in this quilt. They're beautiful colors. I congratulate you, Lorraine, on your choice of colors. Now our next slide that will be coming up soon is our Moulin Rouge quilt. This is absolutely gorgeous, the reds and the greens, and I have seen so many award-winning quilts. Fran Pratt, it is just absolutely gorgeous. And again, this is also a design set you can purchase. Simon embroidered it all, but I've got to confess that I did piece that. I did piece it. So Fran has been very busy. I can see that you have been, Fran. And our next slide coming up is the beautiful Perfect Bliss. And again, Fran, I love the colors. They're just gorgeous. You can all see how important it is to match your fabric and threads and keep repeating colors. It does make anything you do so much more appealing. Color makes or breaks anything. And if you love this quilt, Perfect Bliss, you can go online and watch the video on how to make the quilt. We do have the video, and I go through it absolute step by step. And our next quilt is another quilt that's been sent in. Again, it's Perfect Bliss. I love your colors in this too. And this is Sarah Hall's quilt. And it has been done in cotton fabrics, I think, as opposed to the previous one, which was done in silk. So again, you don't have to make the whole quilt. You can just make a block as a pillow or a table runner, but the techniques and the embroidery designs are gorgeous. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. If it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. For those of you who keep up with my Facebook page, you will know that I have become quite the gym junkie. And each week my personal trainer says, I need to think of something to challenge you, Jenny. Do you realize that our muscles have memory? And so if we do the same exercise all the time, our muscle says, oh, wow, this is easy, I'm not going to work it. So if your muscles are sore, that's good. It's challenging you. And it's the same in our life. If we are challenged continually, we are continually evolving. Again, I want to remind you, they say people have to hear something 11 times before it sinks in, that we are giving our 15% discount until Simon's birthday, the 2nd of March. Now, I also want to talk about our back to basics, because I have been getting so many questions, and I get the questions that come through the old website. I also want to remind you that we do have a new website, and if you have us saved in your favorites from quite a long time ago, then you will go to our old website. You need to delete us out of your favorites and retype in jennyhaskins.com to go to our new website. The Back to Basics is virtually a machine embroidery resource book. It covers everything that you want to know about embroidery and all our techniques. And it's amazing how sometimes we think, even we in the studio, now how did we do that when we haven't done something for some time? It not only teaches you about embroidery techniques, it teaches about fabrics, threads, stabilizers, designs, and much, much more. And it is the perfect resource book. When I first started out my business, we had this very basic book that we wrote everything down in. And if we wanted to find out something, we'd say, where's our Bible in italics? And this will become such an amazing resource book for you. And for those of you who want to know about the Jenny join and all the techniques I talk about, it's all covered in this in step-by-step-by-step photos with directions underneath. So just for example, we do applique, single fabric layer, padded applique, layered applique, sheer reverse applique, shadow applique, floating applique, ribbon lace weaving insert applique, faux knitting padded insert applique, embroidered decoupage, plain embroidered decoupage with applique, 3D embroidered decoupage, using templates, how to use them, how to mark your fabric, quilting in the hoop, quilted fabric applique insert, quilting and piecing in the hoop, embroidery applique plus quilting around it, a place in the sun technique, Simon's applique magic, Simon's applique magic number 2, the Jenny join, trapunto and quilting, embroidery magic with crinkle magic, flowers and layering, velvet crinkle magic applique insert, plain and crinkled, embellishments, crystals, fringe, tassels, magic seams, fabricadabra, strip piecing, machine embroidered lace, buttonholes in the hoop, and antique cut work lace. Imagine having a book that you can absolutely look at any time you like to remind you how to do something. Simon, do you want to talk about this now?
Just a second. I'm just finishing something up. Yes, so this is our Back to Basics Bootcamp. We don't have an exact date as of yet, but we will be setting that date very shortly, and we will be emailing everyone on the email list to let you know when we will be doing it and how you can sign up. It was pretty awesome when we ran it last year because we basically didn't have any people who had questions or were confused about how the technique was done or how they can achieve the correct sample. So I take that as a good sign that the instructions that are available in the Back to Basics are so complete that you can complete the program online. Yeah, it's a great program. So I hope people who are looking for information sign up for it.
Okay. Never be afraid to fall apart, because it is an opportunity to rebuild yourself the way you wish you had been all along. You know, I was just thinking when this slide came up that how many times do we unpick our sewing and then it turns out better than it was originally. Well, it's the same in our life. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it will not change you. Don't forget our code word, Feb 15. Now we come to Modern Ambience. And the colours in this are gorgeous. And I only saw the blocks for the first time yesterday. And I am blown away by what my genius little son has done. He will always be my little mischievous son. So as mothers, you will all understand that. So Simon, I found out something for the first time with Modern Ambience. So would you like to talk about it and blow everyone's mind away?
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what she's referring to there, but I will talk about it. It was 10 years ago that we came out with the book and quilt called Aquamarine Ambience. And that was the very first book that I was involved with. I'm very proud of it. I think it was printed 2 or 3 times, so it was a very popular book. And I wanted to reinvent that quilt and the techniques and incorporate some of the new techniques that we've come up with, embroidered quilts, quilting in the hoop, and of course the Jenny join. So if you have a look at the block, you'll be able to see that the fabric in the background has been pieced. So this is a quilt that is all done in the hoop. So the first thing that happens when you are making the quilt is that in the hoop you piece the diamond on the point in your hoop. So the first fabric. Can I interrupt
for a sec?
Yeah, we can't hear you, we can't hear you, we can't hear you.
Okay, I just wanted to, because Simon's doing what I do, when you do something that's automatic, you forget to say something, so that's a bad habit he's caught from me. This is something I did not realize, that the fabric was pieced in the hoop. I saw it and I thought, oh my goodness, he has done the most brilliant piecing. Look at, and triangles. Oh my goodness, we all know how hard it is to piece stretchy fabric. What has happened is that the batting has been hooped and then the piecing is done over the top of the batting in the hoop, as it is done in piece de resistance. I mean, I just think this is so brilliant. You can totally piece, quilt, embroider, and have your built-in cutting lines all in one hooping. Now I will be quiet, Simon, it's your turn.
So this is a quilt that is done in the sense of a traditional quilt. So in the middle you have your batting. On the top you have your fabric that you have pieced, and then you embroider through your top fabric and your batting. Once all of the embroidery has been done, and the embroidery is done in 3 colors, which you can see here. You have yellow thread, you have grey thread, and you have white thread. So the piecing in the hoop is the first, say, I can't remember exactly, I think the first 28 colors are for your piecing. And your piecing is just done with straight rows of stitching. And the piecing is done exactly the same as paper piecing. So it's done exactly the same way as paper piecing. The only difference is it is done in the hoop. So once you've done your piecing and then you've done your embroidery, you then take your hoop out of the machine and you're going to turn your hoop upside down and you're going to place your backing fabric over the back of the hoop. So that your backing fabric doesn't move, I stick down the edges with little strips of dissolved magic sticky. So basically, I'm using the sticky water-soluble stabilizer like sticky tape, like magic tape, like masking tape, any kind of sticky tape or tape that you use. I'm using the dissolved magic sticky. Then you put the hoop back into the machine, and this is the part that I love the most. You're going to thread up your embroidery machine with Jenny's Invisa sheer thread. Now I'm going to repeat that. We're going to be using Jenny's Invisa sheer thread in our embroidery machine to quilt our block. So if you look at the pictures, you can see all that beautiful stipple quilting. That's all done in the hoop, and it's done with the Invisa sheer thread. I'm kind of a bit annoyed. I didn't think about this previously to use the Invisa sheer thread to quilt our fabric because I was worried because it's so fine that it might break, it won't want to sew fast. Well, I have been embroidering these blocks on my commercial embroidery machine that stitches out at 1,200 stitches a minute. And it had no problem whatsoever stitching with the Invisa sheer thread in the hoop. The only thing is you may have to play around with the tension slightly because it's very fine, but I had no problem stitching with this in the hoop to do all of the quilting. So that means that I didn't have to digitize the areas on the grey fabric so I could do the quilting with grey, the areas on the white fabric to do with white, or the areas on the yellow fabric to do with yellow. I can just quilt the whole thing and it's done with the Invisa sheer thread so it picks up the colour that the fabric is stitched on. How cool is that? I just love that we can use that thread in our embroidery machine to do all of our quilting. So there's been a couple of questions that have come up with regards to the size of the hoops and the size of the block. These blocks are 13.5 inches. So if you have a machine that has a split hoop, so such as the Majestic hoop or the Grand Dream hoop, you will be able to do this as one block, one hooping, and it can all be done that way. Otherwise, it will be done so that you can stitch it out in 4 blocks. So each section of the block is exactly the same. So you'll be stitching 4 smaller blocks and then putting them together with the Jenny join to create the one larger block. So that's the size. I don't know the exact date that it'll come out. I don't know the price at this stage because I'm still working on it. There will be 25 blocks, so it will be a full-size quilt. Sorry, a question's just coming about the stippling. Okay, does the quilting go over the top of your quilt pattern? Yes, it does. It goes over everything. It doesn't go over the embroidery. It goes in between and around the embroidery. So any area that doesn't have embroidery has stipple quilting. So all of your blocks are quilted. So this is a proper way you would do a quilt block. So you've pieced it, you've embroidered it, and remember it's all over the batting. There's no extra stabilizer. Simply put your backing fabric down and you just use whatever. I just use pre-wound white bobbins. Because it's the Invisa thread, it doesn't matter really what color thread you use in the bobbin. And then you, and that's how it's done. Then the blocks will be cut to size, put together with stashing, and done with the Jenny join. We will be including in the next webinar how to put the quilt together when I get around to it. It may not be that next one, it might be the one after that. But that's how it's all done. So I'm going to hand the reins back over to Jenny. I hope everyone likes it. I think the other great thing about this, if yellow, white and grey are not your colours, it's very easy to change the colours of the quilt because all it is 3 colours. So you could do it in pink, white and green. You could do it in orange, yellow and pink. You could do it in red, black and, I don't know, yellow. You could do it in blue, white and red. Any colours that you would like to do, it's just 3 fabrics and 3 thread colours and the Invisa sheer thread. I've had lots of fun working on this, and we've had fun posting the pictures up on our Facebook page. This is a note for Jenny. The people who aren't on Facebook would like you to start posting these on your blog. So Jenny has to keep her blog up to date. So with that note, I'm going to hand it back over to Jenny, and I'm going to answer all the questions that have just come in.
Gee, thanks everyone. I get into trouble because I've got to keep this up, I've got to keep that up, and sometimes I run out of things to talk about. Speaking of things to talk about, I'm just going to let you sit and look at this gorgeous block. And I actually disappeared there for a second because I was going to look for the blocks. I think I've taken them downstairs to Simon to show you the back of them. They are just gorgeous. And his little mind never stops working. And what I love about them is the effects that you get on the blocks where grey is on grey and yellow is on yellow, and where they overlap. Oh, here, he's brought them up for me. Isn't he a good lad? No, Simon, that's too much blur. I'm just going to put you on speaker for a minute and hold them up. Hang on. I don't know if you can see them as well as, where can I put it? Yes, if I angle it like that, you can see that the embroidery, I've got to do this in the earth and get it in the right place. It's all quilted and the embroidery is outlined on the back. And the Invisa thread is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking at it close up. I don't know if you can see it. I'm holding it to you as it actually is, and I'll go back with it. They are the most beautiful blocks, and each one looks different depending on the embroidery. I hope you are seeing these. Will you type into Simon if you can see them? I hope you can. And of course they've got the built-in cutting lines too. I just love the difference. So you're all noticing the difference, which you see also when I hold them up like this. I'm just going through them. Aren't they fantastic? I can hear Simon madly typing away in the background. Each one, because of the embroidery and where it overlaps, look different. This is as many as he's done. And I wish you, oh, I'm just going to hold this up. I don't know if you can see it. Because you can see the colour coming through, you don't see the quilting unless I take, there you go. I've got it right up close there. The back is equally as nice as the front with the quilting. And the stipple quilting is just divine. Are you all noticing the difference? I think they're so inspirational, guys. They're brilliant, aren't they? I love them. Each one looks different because of how the colours are. I truly don't think there's anyone in the industry that it can come close to touching Simon when it comes to his creativity. So on a fun note, because I've got a couple of other things I want to share with you, my favourite designer is, as you can see, I hope you can all hear me because I'm holding hands and trying to do this with take it off the speaker. Is you can all see it. They call me Kitten d'Amour. These are the bags you get when you buy something, and everything is done in flock with velvet handles, and you even get your receipt in this. So go online and check it out. It's very French, and I'm just going to show you the skirt. As I said, Simon told me I had to get dressed. Isn't it gorgeous? Now the top, all the fabrics come from Paris, and she is going over to, eventually, she's going to LA, and the fabrics are stretchy. Isn't this the cutest little skirt? And her detail is beautiful. My top is satin, and when you see me on the webcam, it makes me look like I have boobs, which I don't have, but it's nice to think that maybe that's a remote possibility in another life. And I wanted to share with you my beautiful lace jacket. Isn't it gorgeous? That's another one of her pieces. And I had on yesterday this gorgeous skirt, and I just want to share with you, if I can, the fabric is just divine. If you look at it, it's got the Eiffel Tower, and it's like actually scrapbooking, if you want to look at it that way. The fabric, it's a long skirt, and it's trimmed in grosgrain ribbon. So that was my fun little thing that I wanted to share with you. And Simon, have you got a moment to come up here? Sorry, I'm bending down, everybody. Can you come up, Si?
Okay, all right. I'm trying to get.
I have a little present for him. You all on speaker?
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Wow, this is a quilt that I was making when I was in hospital 18 months ago, and it's my Sunshine for All quilt. And Mum has said that she was going to piece it forever and ever and ever, so she finally has. And wow, it looks incredible. It's very, very cool. Quite possibly. Wow, that's amazing.
Okay, so you're sharing in some fun things. I've had it folded up and put away, and he did not know that I was piecing it. I wanted to surprise him on the webinar. The next slide is just gorgeous. Finding friends with the same mental disorder as you is priceless. And I'm going to leave that one open. Finding friends with the same mental disorder as you is priceless. Again, remember, we must be nearly up to 11, that we have our 15% off everything till Simon's birthday. Now we're going to very quickly go over Simon's Applique Magic number 2 to keep you all busy until we can get our A into C and get the, I think it'll be the Sunshine for All quilt that will be out first. So this is Simon's Applique Magic number 2, and I'm going to go through the technique of how it is done. It is reversible. Should you choose to have it totally reversible, then you would need 4 layers of fabric with batting sandwich between the top and bottom 2 layers. So let's go through the technique. It is a fabulous technique and looks absolutely spectacular. As you will see on the screen in a minute, the quilt is totally double-sided. And I actually pieced this quilt in 3.5 hours, so that I did it in block rows. So I did 2, 2, and then pieced this on, and then pieced the other one on. I pieced them in block rows and then pieced it, and did the tape, both front and back, and yes, it only took me that amount of time. I have to have a drink for a sec, just a minute. The next slide will be coming up in a second. I did have lots of drinks before this, but there is a limit to the amount of spit you can hold in your mouth at one time. Okay, so you can see here that, where's my little arrow, we have 1, 2 layers of fabric that are up the right way. We have Quilt Magic Plus, which is our beautiful lightweight double-sided fusible batting, and then on the bottom, wrong side up, our 2 layers of fabric. So our plain fabric is what we're going to see as our applique, because we're going to be cutting our top fabric away. We are going to hoop all 5 layers at once. All 5 layers of fabric are put together in the hoop. The first thing that is stitched is the magic stitch cutting line. The magic stitch cutting line, which is to the finished eyes of the block. Where you have the built-in stitch cutting line, it's to the finished size of the block. You will notice that there is stipple quilting in the background, and the area in the center will be cut away for the applique fabric to be seen underneath. You cut the top fabric only inside the applique outline to reveal the plain fabric beneath. So we are going to do that on the front of the hoop as well as the back of the hoop. So we're taking the hoop out of the machine, not the fabric out of the hoop. The hoop out of the machine, but not the fabric out of the hoop. We then place the hoop back in the machine to sew the decorative applique stitch. Remember, whenever you are doing these kind of techniques, you have the same colored thread in the needle and bobbin. If you are doing a reverse quilt, you have the same colored thread in the needle and bobbin. And Jenny's beautiful rayon threads are gorgeous to quilt with, to applique with, to stitch with. They are just beautiful. You then remove the fabric from the hoop and use the built-in stitch cutting line to cut to the finished size. There's your cutting line there. The secret is to place your quilting ruler exactly on top of the line, so that when you cut with your rotary cutter, you're going to be just on the outside edge of that stitch. You do not want to cut that stitch, because it is there to hold your layers of fabric together for when you piece with the Jenny join, which gives you lovely, flat, non-bulky, non-threatening seams. And we're just going to very quickly go through the blocks so you can see the quilting in the background. And some of the blocks are done in the aqua and some are done in the yellow. And just depending on the fabrics, you can see that the applique and quilting is in contrast or the same as. And you get the different effects in the blocks. Of course, the stitching picks up the colour, the same colour as the stitching. You can see here all the beautiful quilting, which is all done in the hoop. And you get a gorgeous, lovely, flat quilt that is double-sided. So you could do summer and winter colours. You could do spring colours so that you can reverse them, spring and autumn. So all you have to do is turn your quilt over. You do not have to make a whole quilt. You can do a throw. You can do pillows, which you can reverse for summer, winter, autumn, or spring. You can do table runners and placemats. The sky is the limit with your creativity. You could also piece a whole lot and then cut it as fabric to make a lovely quilted double-sided jacket just by binding your seams. Or you could seam your jacket with the Jenny join and then you'd have lovely flat seams. There you go. There's something else for you to think about. These really are great blocks, lovely and flat and really, really beautiful. And remember, they come with a pair of scissors. No, they don't.
No,
Simon's
they don't.
applique. Sorry, Simon's applique number 1 came with the scissors. So if you have the scissors, they are the best, the little titanium snips. And of course you can purchase the scissors individually. We always like half a dozen pairs of these so that we can have them by each machine and wherever we're working. They are such great little scissors. Okay, Simon, did you, before I flip back that slide, is there anything you want to say at this point?
No.
Oh, that was done. Okay, I noticed one of the questions. Yes, the one thing I didn't mention was the number of different sizes the blocks come in. So Simon, so to refresh my memory, what sizes do the blocks? Can you make blocks up? But yes, just say it. I wrote the directions. I've just forgotten.
12 inches, 10 inches, 9 inches, 7.5 inches, and 5 inches.
And these can all be pieced to form different size blocks, correct? So if I wanted a 10 inch...
The 12 inch, the 10 inch, the 9 inch can be done as whole blocks depending on your size of hoop, or they can be done as 4 quarter-size blocks and then you put them together with the Jenny joint. The 7.5 inch and the 5 inch blocks are just done at the one side. So as long as you have a 5 by 7 inch hoop or larger, you can make almost all of the block sizes.
Okay, so that gives you heaps and heaps of creative ideas. I love this one. So everyone has to just spell out the second last word. Instead of saying, have a nice day, okay, I'm going to start saying, have the day you deserve. You know, let karma sort that day out. I love the lady on the side. I love the rollers. And I have a saying that says, hey, karma, can you go back? You missed some people out. And this is in the same line, and I'm sorry, I just could not help not have it. Instead of saying, have a nice day, I'm going to start saying, have the day you deserve. You know, let karma sort that out. I think this is great. Is this our last slide, Si?
There's one more after it, just reminding everyone about the webinar special coupon.
Okay. And we will be having our next webinar in March, Simon.
That's correct.
Okay, I know he's going to put me to work, but for those of you who know Catherine Heighton, she arrives, I thought she was arriving tomorrow, next Friday, and she's here for a month. So I don't know how much work will get done, but we'll try and slot some in. I'd like to thank you all for attending the webinar. I hope you've had fun. I'm trying to keep you abreast of everything we're doing. I hope you like the glasses and the dresses and the fabrics. Go and have a look on Kittens Amour. The photos are all incredibly Moulin Rouge-y. You don't have to be Moulin Rouge-y, but the clothes are absolutely gorgeous, and you might get some creative ideas you can buy online, but they are coming to LA. The fabrics are absolutely gorgeous. She's a great Australian designer. Started off as one store in Brisbane, and now she is branching out, and I have a store in my local beautiful big shopping centre. So from Simon and I, Simon?
Bye.
Bye, and I look forward to chatting to you all in March. Bye.